afternoon. How are we all doing? How's everybody? All had good mornings? Market's been a bit crap this morning, hasn't it? Still nothing going anywhere. Stuck is the word. How are we doing, Alex? Baggy, Dreska, Virginia, Monkey Man? How are we doing? Steve? XR update.news. Hopefully today is the day. Hopefully today is always the day. Afternoon, Tim, Stefan, Martin, Fletch. Right. I've been working on the pre-market thing this morning. Pre-market opening range break. I've decided to go a slightly different route. So pre-market works fine. It either slams it or it doesn't. No problem. So what I've decided to do is redo the EA. So if we make a profit, it stops trading. If we don't make a profit, it basically takes inside bar breakouts. Because we know inside bar breakouts work really well. So especially at the open in the first hour, because there's a lot of volatility. So I've rehashed it. So this is the first live test of this. Works in the back tester. Everything works in the back tester, just doesn't work in real life. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. So just a quick recap of how everything's doing. There's a lot of stuff getting squeezed at the minute. So ADR reversals yesterday banked nothing. We've 0.21 drawdown today. So 11% on the month. Not a great month for this strategy this month. 9.75 drawdown. There's a couple of bits getting close to 3%. Pound New Zealand still stuck on that New Zealand and the pound odd. So it's the Aussie and the New Zealand. Somebody's just entered there, wasn't it? Yeah, Euro odd's just gone into a position. Yeah, so not a lot happening on that. H1, 1.5 drawdown done. Flat day yesterday as well, 9.36. Nothing scary drawdown apart from Pound New Zealand, stuck. And New Zealand US, stuck. It's all New Zealand. H4, 11.9% drawdown. Funnily enough, Pound New Zealand. and New Zealand US. US dollar yen, that's got 7 positions on, but it's only a 1.3% of drawdown. Really fluctuating on that at the minute. This yen is hit and miss. 1.48% drawdown control down on 0.77. That's 10% up on the month. And H1 hedging, 18%. 1% bank today. Euro US dollar is the main issue there, and Aussie dollar US dollar. So there's a lot of stuff which is just basically squeezing at the moment gradually. So it's like slowly draining the blood from your body, but not doing it very fast. So boom is what we're waiting for. It'll all get undone literally in a day. We're just waiting for that day. So we've just had news on the Canadian dollar. GDP came out as flat, so better than expected, because they were expected to go into recession numbers month on month, but they didn't. They came out as flat. So positive, but no real reaction from the Canadian dollar. The German CPI figures came out as negative. So we were forecasting a drop in CPI. We actually got a negative, which is obviously good for the Eurozone, not specifically for the Euro itself, because it does take the pressure off interest rate rises. So we need to just pay attention and see if Lagarde or anybody from the ECB now starts to talk about potentially dropping the pressure on interest rates. Don't think it will. But we'll see what happens. But other than that, there's no other news this morning. Nothing particularly impactful anyway that we can see. So yeah, so that's all for news. This afternoon, we've got jolts at 3. Undecided as to whether the market will decide to do anything on that, but we will see. So we may get some movement on jolts, but probably not. So I don't think we're going to hang around for the open. So just looking at where we are. So the DAX this morning, the opening range on the DAX was a bit of a chop fest. We didn't even get to that yesterday's low target. We were up there and we started to reject and come straight back down into the opening range again. So we didn't manage to get there. And we haven't got the gap fill done. So we might get a bullish move this afternoon. So obviously there's your low, your high. Potentially we're putting in a higher low for a come up for this fill. We'll see what happens. But yeah, opening range breakout to the downside was not great. Upside, not great. So rotation day so far. Dow, not a lot of pre-market movement on the Dow today. Going to say that's not the same chart, is it? That's not updated. Is it? Not a lot of pre-market movement. That thing looks like a skyrocket. That's not updated. I think I'm going to have to leave Robo Forex. Honestly, it's getting hideous. Data lag is, I don't know whether it's me or what, but I just can't get these charts to update. Awful. This is a brand new MT4 installation. Absolutely fine. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Shouldn't be sitting here waiting for data paint. It's ridiculous. So I can't tell you what's going on with the Dow because Robo Forex are crap. I think I might switch again. Might try the Axie again. Go back to Axie. Oh, I hate this. I hate changing brokers. I have this thing all the time. Got to change brokers. When brokers start to screw you around, you have to move. And then they come screaming for you because they miss all your money. But just not getting the data paint on it. So no idea. Nothing's updating. Okay, opening range is in. We are open. So let's watch the 5-minute charts because I can't do analysis because the chart's not working. So basically, we're taking the pre-market 5 long and short. And obviously not on the DAX because it's the wrong time. So we're long on NASDAQ. We're short on the Dow. So this is the same opening range breakout pre-market that I've been testing, which hasn't been working. What I've done is I've basically stripped it back to literally just taking these pending orders. If that breakout doesn't work, we wait for an inside bar break, which obviously means we need an inside bar. So we've gone long on the S&P, long on the NASDAQ, short on the Dow so far. The back testing I've done on this way of trading it actually looks pretty good. The other thing it does as well is if we get a profit off the initial move, we stop trading. So what it's designed to do is if this works, which it does sort of 60 to 70% of the time, brilliant. If it doesn't work, we try to recoup ourselves back to a break even just using inside bar breakouts, which seems to work very well. Profit curve looks pretty good on it. Just because I couldn't get the other version to work. Dow stopped out on one position. Again, that should have stopped out on both positions. The trailing stop is identical. So the fact that one's stopping out when the other isn't, it's just Robo Forex are really screwing around at the moment. Okay, so target hit on the NASDAQ, target hit on the S&P. Stops to break even on both. Stop out on that one. Afternoon, everybody else that I haven't said an afternoon to. Oil, big move. We'll have a look at that. Just see what these opens do. So if you're trading the traditional 5-minute opening range break, obviously it's fairly big one. Too big, but fairly big today. Okay, so stopped out on the NASDAQ, break even on the second position. With a bit of a profit, actually. Should have left those pendings in place, shouldn't I, really? Never mind. that one anyway. So big double-ended stop run today on the Dow. Very nasty. So we're back to square one on the Dow. Still got 1.5 minutes left. Stopped out S&P on the second position. So overall on those, so yeah, nice profit there. 1,400, 15, 16, 17, 1,800 minus 700. So about $1,100 profit. That's not too bad, is it? So we'll see where these go. So the Dow looks like it wants to break short. NASDAQ and the S&P are both rejecting a move to the upside as well. So looks like we're going to break short, which again means the DAX is coming down. So we're not looking to go very long on that DAX for the gap fill. Whoops, that's down. So we are running back down again away from that gap. So we've got this left up here to come back to at a later stage. There we go. So that's that. Now these charts have updated. That didn't take too long, did it? So downside targets for the Dow. Obviously, Globex low is where we're sitting at the moment. We've got this accumulation here, which is this propulsion gap, which we are looking to test probably next. But downside target really is last week's low, which is 125 ADR. So there's lots of room to the downside on it. If we do reject this low and push back up again, obviously we'd be looking for somewhere around previous day's low, which is there, or yesterday's high, which is ADR. So upside target is there, downside target is all the way down there. So plenty of room today for movement. So I just want to watch. I'm going to watch these and just see what they do. I'll come back to these every 5 minutes or so. So basically what the EA is designed to do now, ordinarily it wouldn't take any trades because we've made a profit. So it would stop trading and say, brilliant, well done, walk off with the money. But because we, it was a loss from this morning because I was mucking about. I've been mucking about with it all day, as you can see. I've been testing, live testing stuff. As it's sitting in, I think it's sitting in negative balance. Let me just check that. Not sitting in negative balance. That's annoying. So it's not going to trade anymore because it's made a profit. It's funny. I was trying to test it this afternoon while I was developing it. Accidentally made about $4,000 by accident on the 1 minute charts. So now it's not actually going to do the test that I want it to do, which is basically trading out of a loss. We'll wait until tomorrow. I'm fast losing the will to live with that strategy. I'm coming to the conclusion it's far better just to manually trade the thing. It either doesn't fire and misses the profit, or it makes too much money. Can't win, can you? There's your opening range on the Dow. Huge, big opening range. So you break to the, obviously when we break to the downside, if it doesn't go on the break, you've got a potential big rotation day in here today. 3 o'clock is the next news. We just had some news coming from the German economic ministers. We have a technical recession and recovery will only take effect gradually this year. Again, more bullish talk for the US. So as long as they're talking about recession, they want to put interest rates up. Right, let's have a look at the FX pairs. So ADRs today, we had lots of ADRs. And let's look at oil quickly while we're talking about oil. So yeah, big rally off of oil. So what's today? It's Wednesday. So we've had a bank holiday. So we haven't got oil inventories today. Oil inventories will be tomorrow. Yeah, so 4 o'clock, they've moved it. Crude's moved back to 4. Not quite sure why they've moved crude, but crude's normally 330 on a Wednesday, but it's gone back a day and half an hour for some reason. So we've got no crude inventories today. So there's no catalyst for moving oil today. So we were looking at this earlier this morning, potentially for the double bottom bounce, which was at ADR, and that's exactly where we've bounced. So this is what we were looking at this morning, was this being the peak formation low, high, higher low, higher high. We were looking for a higher low to be put in, which failed. Okay, so next stop was this low here, which is today what we've hit. So that's a beautiful bounce off of that low for a long. ADR, and they bought it straight up. So we're looking for range high basically as a target, somewhere up, back up into here, into this propulsion. So this accumulation break here has held, and we've sold out of that multiple times. So that's your target to the upside, assuming that we're just going to stay in this range. If it breaks to the downside, however, you've got the monthly low down here. So this was next stop, which was 225 ADR. So that's an ADR bounce today off of support. Failing that, if this is just going to push back up into there and then reject back down, that's where you want to be buying it from. So if you want to position trade this, it's a good looking long, assuming we're going to get this $95 a barrel they keep promising. That's your first entry. That's your second entry. If we get much below that, I would probably just get out and run, because this thing is collapsing. Oil. So does look like, though, is starting to kind of hold up a little bit down here. So we'll see. But yeah, nice rally off of oil there. Basically just bought this level. You can see as soon as they tapped into it, limit orders triggered. They tried to get through it again, limit orders triggered, bang. Sellers gave up. All of them took profit on that move. And we got a nice potential W pattern formation starting now. So your reversal alert off of ADR on that. When the chart updates. God, it's terrible. Almost makes you want to dump MT4 and move to TradingView. I don't have this problem with any other broker. Robo Forex is just becoming unbearable. Just there we go. So there was your reversal alert. So your entry was on that candle there, on that reversal alert. So they put in a new low off the back of that same candle. Nice pop. So nice ADR reversal, straight into it, tapped off of it. Nice 3-bar reversal, came in, second low. So there's your W. Very nice bounce. Right, so let's look at ADRs. So obviously that was an ADR. Obviously weekly range has been hit already. Look. We're only on Wednesday. Suppose it's the second day of the trading week, really, because Monday was a bank holiday and didn't go anywhere. But that's your weekly range hit there already. It's the last day of the month as well today, so we might get quite a bit of movement across the board. Inside bar, no, it's not an inside bar, but we have broken to the upside on the NASDAQ. S&P, not so strong. Dow, utterly useless. Weird moves today. No movement at all. Some news on oil, on financial juice, is there? Gazprom, it's gas. US monthly crude oil output rose by 12.7 million barrels. Probably was that, wasn't it? I guess. Not sure why increasing supply is good for price. That would tend to be the opposite. Who knows? Nice bounce though. It's a double bottom basically. So right, ADRs. So we looked at these this morning. We'll go through them again because some of them have played out, some of them haven't. So Aussie dollar CAD. You've just had a reversal alert on this. So we had a reversal alert off. There's ADR. We came down to ADR this morning. You had a reversal alert in here somewhere. I think it was that one there. Was your initial reversal alert. Yeah, so that candle there would have been your entry long. As soon as we entered sideways, put in a second leg. So second entry's just gone in there, Aussie dollar CAD. Aussie dollar, big down on the news this morning. So we had the CPI figures coming out. Absolutely no reason why higher inflation should lead to a negative move on a currency, but it has. So I don't think this is the right move. And also, I don't think this is the right move for the New Zealand dollar, but it doesn't seem to be letting up at the moment. So nice ADR reversal down there. Canadian dollar, in theory, if we are going to get this double bottom on oil and we are going to push back up to that range, the Canadian dollar should power up, meaning this is a little bit more bearish. However, we've got an overdue move on the New Zealand dollar coming, which will drag the Aussie with it as well. And the fact the Aussie's had positive news, I think this is potentially just a deep kind of stop run or last move before we get that push back up. So good looking entry there. Pound Swiss has just hit ADR, literally. Aussie dollar yen. So the yen moves we had this morning and yesterday seem to have failed. So first push down, then we broke out of this low after the news on the Aussie. And now we've got a nice W pattern going in on the hourly. So that looks pretty good. M5 reversal alert was earlier this morning. Did we not get one? We didn't get one. Oh no, because it's massive. So literally, we just came up and retested the area and dropped. So that is actually your first reversal alert today. Nice W pattern reversal. Perfect. So Aussie dollar yen, there's your long entry. It's already played out. Aussie dollar, US dollar, just be careful of these yens. Aussie dollar, US dollar, there's your reversal alert. I had an entry on that one there. There was one this morning on that. Then we pushed down and made a new second leg, just broken that. Now it's off to the upside. That must be US dollar dropping. US dollar's dropping hard at the moment. So Aussie dollar, US dollar, that was a 125 RSI extension, sorry, ADR hit. Swiss yen, that one hit to the downside. There's your reversal alert from this morning there on that candle there. This is 100 ADR. So all we've done is we pushed down, got the reverse alert. We have pushed up a little bit, but it's dropped back down again. So need to see what's happening with this yen. Really difficult to tell with the yen because we had two big down days on the trot. It's difficult to tell whether this is actual yen strength or whether it's the market just not selling the yen anymore. So not sure if it's strength or them just scaling out their positions. So it could be either or. So that was your initial entry. Third of an ADR on this is somewhere around about 35 pips. So that's 34. Yeah, almost a third of an ADR. May have hit target on that. Probably not. I can tell. Swiss yen. Yeah, hit target. So that was straight in and straight out this morning. Hit target. So nice in and out. Done. Euro odd. That was off the obviously the news. So this one's an absolute mess at the minute. Chart's not updating either. Oh yeah, so Euro odd was the one that wasn't actually an ADR, wasn't it? Basically, that candle did an ADR. So they did an ADR in 5 minutes. Not tradable, not a hit. Euro yen. Euro New Zealand. Euro yen. So that's hit to the downside. We got an ADR reversal off of that this morning as well. So that was your entry. Wasn't the entry, was it? It was. So that was your entry there. So that candle was your entry. Again, that looks like it was probably a target hit straight away. ADR on that is 33. A third of an ADR is 33. 34. I think that's probably just TP'd. Oh yeah, that one TP'd as well. Swiss yen and the euro yen both straight in, straight out today. Euro US dollar. So that one ADR reversal was there. Again, you've had 30 pips out of that. That's half an ADR. So that's target hit already. Missed that one. Pound odd. Same. That's a hit to the upside, isn't it? Pound odd. So your short entry going in now, you will have had an entry on this one already on the pound odd. So, excuse me, itchy nose. Yeah, so again, pound odd. That's an ADR hit in one candle again there. So difficult to really get into this. It will have triggered short if you're using the EA because it is a hit. So from the low to the high as a hit. So it'd be a short. So your short entry would have been difficult to tell where the entry is on that one, to be honest. Oh, it's already got multiple trades on it on a short. So it's already been entered from days ago. So this pound odd, obviously, that would have been your initial entry. That's the way I got out of the H1M5 mean reversion. So there's an entry in there somewhere, and it's still in it on the pound odd. Pound Swiss, still, that's just hit ADR. Wow. Swiss franc, is this the pound or the Swiss franc? This looks like the euro and the Swissy are tanking. This is the Swiss franc. So they're piling out the Swiss franc at the moment for some reason. Might be related to the German news, but so pound Swiss, there's an entry on this one as well. You're not going to get into this. It's all the way down here. It's miles away. So there's your ADR hit to get into it for a reversal alert after this like 25-minute parabolic move. You're just not going to get in with an entry on it. There's an entry already this morning on this one, which is H1M5. So it's extended on the hourly RSI. So that was an entry there, and obviously off of the back of this move. So the fact that the Swiss franc's just suddenly weakened after we've moved up on RSI, nothing much you can do about that. So just waiting for that to come back down again. Not going to get a second entry on that. New Zealand dollar yen, big extension to the downside. Again, just taking a buy on this one today off of the hourly RSI extension. Nice W pattern forming there. Watch that low potentially for a support bounce. We have, however, got this. So all the New Zealand dollar pairs, every single New Zealand dollar pair, the interest rate change, it just hasn't recovered at all. So target ultimately is back up to retest this area on all New Zealands. So either you're longing New Zealand dollar against whatever, or you're shorting something against the New Zealand dollar. So they're all good mean reversion opportunities at the moment. New Zealand dollar yen, obviously, just be a little careful if they are going to power up the yen. Obviously, this one's going to continue to drop. So, but that is an ADR this morning. Your 5-minute reversal alert was there. So that was the initial reversal alert. And obviously, we've just gone sideways since then. So it's in profit. And US dollar Swiss. So there's your alert on that one. Sure, we haven't gone anywhere. ADR high. So big push up. ADR not going anywhere yet. So that's all of those. Obviously, it's the last day of the month today, so we may get a big flurry towards the end of today. We might get some much bigger moves than this, but we'll see what happens. So I suspect this move that we're seeing on the Swiss franc is scaling out of positions, but it's not actually that big. When you look at it, you know, a lot of these are well within ADR. So it is just a flurry of orders that's come in. It's not really a big run for the hills type move. Right, so that's all your ADRs. RSIs we'll have a look at in a sec. Just catch up on the chat. Yay, trading view. Wait, no EA's on TradingView. No. Manual. My broker is Robo Forex. Soon not to be. I'm having all sorts of execution problems at the moment. This happens to me on a regular basis. I don't know why. It just does. It's just what brokers do, basically. I think they just get fed up with you and want you to move on. But I was with Axie for years. I was with DOW and NASDAQ for years. Then they changed the leverage, so I had to move. I was with Axie for years. And then Axie just suddenly started giving me execution problems. They started doing crazy overnight swaps. So I jumped ship. They phoned me up and said, "Oi, want our money back?" So I said, "No." So I moved over to Robo Forex. Been absolutely fine for years. And now I just seem to be getting chart freeze. Literally every day I get chart freeze. And I get update problems, which is basically related to chart freeze. So reinstalled MT4, rolling out MT4 problem. It's not that. Brand new MT4. So it's obviously a data feed issue. I've got it across all my accounts. So I've got these two MT4s running. They're both running on separate trading accounts. Both of them freeze up and lose connection around about the same time. So they've either got some kind of data issue or they've switched over to some kind of pool that is not giving proper data feeds. So it's a pain. It's an absolute pain switching broker. It really is. I hate it. So I don't really want to do it. But these are demo accounts. These ones, though, my ECNs are doing the same thing. Live accounts are doing the same thing as well. So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt the minute, but I'm going to get contact support and say, I seem to be having a problem. And they're probably going to tell me to switch over to a Prime account, which is more commission and less spread because I'm making profit. Therefore, what they want out of me is more commission because I don't take many trades. I make a profit. Therefore, they make less money. So that might be part of the problem, but it doesn't explain why the demo account's doing it as well as the ECNs. So it seems to me that they've got a problem. If anybody else is on Robo Forex, let me know if you're having the same issues. If you're not, it's obviously me. Might be PC related. I can't see why, but Timmy's, I can't, if that's your name. No, time is now, isn't it? You're going to let this ORB trade the open tonight or trade it manually? ORB trade the open tonight. Market's already gone. You've missed it, mate. It's open. It's made money. Done it. It's done its job. We're done. Nice little profit today. So 2 wins, win there, loss there. That one trades in the morning because it's the DAX. So yeah, all done. Right, RSIs. So there's a few RSIs. We had quite a few more this morning to look at, but they've kind of played out a little bit. So Aussie dollar, US dollar. Let's look at the hourly. So hourly RSI was just extended. It's just ticking up now. So that was extended. It's just starting to move. So this US dollar, we've got a little bit of weakness showing on the US. Scaled out. So 2 positions taken on this one. Both had drawdown control done on them. Third entry was today off the back of this accumulation. So hopefully this is just grabbing liquidity out of that accumulation and we're going to now push up and retest this area again. So we've had 3 attempts to get through that propulsion gap. No joy so far. So a retest of that obviously gets me out with a nice profit. So nicely extended, not massively extended. The biggest extension was back there. But obviously this Australian dollar came down with the New Zealand dollar. The New Zealand dollar hasn't managed to rally. This is not the right move for this Australian inflation figure. Should be bullish. So I don't think this is the move. I think we'll get a push back up. More than likely what they're going to do is come back up and retest previous resistance. So either that area or more likely that area. So this black line here, which is 3 weeks ago, that's the 3-week low. We tested that multiple times, finally got through it. We haven't tested it yet. So it hasn't been retested. So that propulsion gap there is probably where I would expect us to get to. Unlikely to get up there unless we get a real batch of weakness in the US dollar, which doesn't seem to be happening at the moment. So best case scenario, obviously, is all the way up there. Worst case scenario, back into there, which is retesting this monthly area here. So we've got these purple lines here, which is the low from last month and the low from 2 months ago. So if we go back out, you can see these are monthly lows. So this range, we finally broke down. We're either going to pop back out. So this is balance. This is price discovery. So price discovery, if price discovery fails, we move back into balance. If price discovery succeeds, we tend to retest the low of balance before we drop down for the next leg. So either way, this propulsion gap here is the ultimate retest. And if you look at it on the hourly, we are zoomed in a bit. Back up into here, into this one here, is kind of where we should really get. We should achieve that. Or at least this area here, which is, this is the lows, the previous monthly lows. This big propulsion gap here, which is where we finally slammed through it. So the sellers slammed through that area. We should retest that. So that's what I'll be looking for. That's where I'll be out on that one. Swiss yen also extended. Just got the first entry on this one today. I'm still very wary of these yens. This big 2-day move, not sure if this is the market getting scared or this is actually the Japanese intervention. I don't think it's an intervention. It's not fast enough, not hard enough. Normally you'd see a much, much bigger move. But it could well be the market just jumping out of the yen. And if they don't move it and they just keep it range bound, the yen will probably intervene. So pound Swiss RSI, 125 ADR on the US dollar Swiss. So there's a few RSIs lit up. ADR on Euro CAD as well. So pound Swiss yen we were just looking at, which was there. So that one's now out of extension. Dated nicely. Euro Swiss, that's just got the alert. So that's off today. So the Swiss franc is massively weak. Again, second day of weakness in the Swiss franc. We looked at this one before. We've got this high up here, and then this high here. So this is last week's high. This is the previous week's high. So this area up here at 125 ADR, roughly anywhere up there for a potential bounce. Nicely extended. Just looking for a push back down into propulsion. So again, drop down M5, wait for a reversal alert. Well, that's tiny. Look at that. So that is your reversal alert. Because of the size of that wick. And we've just put in a new wick there. So that break basically of that level is an entry short. Pound odd. That's extended to the upside as well. Only just though. So it's a bit of a messy one, this pound odd. So got out of those shorts on that one. It's not extended enough for me to get into again yet, but it's 125 ADR, push back down into propulsion or retest of last week's high. If it's going to continue to the upside, which it should do. Market is, bias is bullish, pound Australian dollar. Afternoon, Brian. Pound Swiss extended to the upside. So initial entry on that one was here this morning. Started to work out and then Swiss franc died, so that's rallied. Looks like it's weakening up here. So we just had nice tweezer tops going. So if we got a nice bearish candle on this hourly, which is obviously just started this candle, so it's way too early to tell. But this could be a nice rejection point up here at ADR. So dropping down onto M5, you're probably, yeah, this is the one you're stuck. You're not going to get an entry on this one till down there. So really nice wicks to the upside. This is a pretty good risk reward short here. So if you're getting short here with a stop somewhere up there, roughly quarter of an ADR or something. So about 15 pip stop if you wanted to take a stop. So somewhere up there. Potentially if this is going to come back down from here, this is a very high risk reward trade because your target is all the way down there, back down at previous day's low. So failing that, you got yesterday's low as a target as well. Yesterday's high, sorry, as a target, which is the previous week's high as well. And then you've got the week before's high. So this whole area here is potentially an initial bounce point. Failing that, all the way back down to there. So you're just disconnected again. Not good. Getting so much chart freeze. Afternoon, Kennelly. So there's your hourlies. So that's all the hourlies done. Probably the best of the bunch is the pound Swiss at the moment because it's massively extended from yesterday. Didn't have any kind of pullback yesterday. So far today, we've rallied, just accumulated. Now we've broken to the upside. So there's a big propulsion gap. Well, if the market stays like this up here, there's a big propulsion gap going in there, but more likely we're going to fill that straight away. That's just retested this one here and completed it. Look. That propulsion gap, we tested it twice, sold out of it, finally slammed through it now. So next stop up here. We looked at this one this morning, didn't we, as a potential nice short out of here, which it was until the Swiss franc died. So in short, waiting for that one to come back down now. So everything else you can see on the 4-hour RSIs, a lot of these are ADRs as well. So we've kind of looked at all of these. So I'll whiz through these quickly. All the yen-based ones, which we'll do in a batch on the 4-hour, are extended. So either this is a pullback and we're going to continue to weaken the yen, in which case then the Japanese at some point will intervene and slam it through the floor. Or this is the start of potentially some strength coming through in the yen. So we don't know obviously yet because it's too early in the move, but just be careful. Nice rejection on this one, pushing back up again. So it is a nice 4-hour RSI extension, same as down here. You might get that. So if we're going to remain bullish, this is exactly where you want to be buying it because it's in a kind of uptrend at the moment, although it is actually an ascending wedge. So if it isn't, obviously, and this is the start of some kind of yen move, which is well overdue, this is coming down, probably back down to retest these areas, and we're going to stay in a wide range. So just be a little careful with these yens. Swiss yen is very much the same, although that one obviously is extended on the 4-hour. Lovely rejection off of this level here. But equally, it could drop. So the Swiss franc's obviously weakening at the moment, but you can see how much strength has come into this yen over the last 2 days. But obviously that does happen in a pullback as well. So it could just be a pullback, but it just happens to coincide with the Japanese coming out and saying we're keeping a close eye on the FX. We don't like what's happening. And all of a sudden the market starts to strengthen on the yen. So it does seem like the market's going to be less inclined to continue this trend because they know that if they do intervene, they're going to go heavily into drawdown fast. So won't find as much interest in buying it, I don't think, over the next week or so. Other yens we've got are New Zealand yen. That's the only other one. And obviously New Zealand is absolutely trashed at the moment off of the interest rate rise. Accumulated, failed again. In one long on that, on the hourly, we're at a nice level of support potentially here. We've got propulsion gaps to the downside, 4-hour RSI extension. Not quite divergence, but close. That's where we'd be looking to go. Again, if we don't get that intervention, if we do, it's a scaling job until we get some kind of pullback on it. So all we basically had was, it's not even a flag, it's an accumulation break down into support. So this is a perfect bounce point. So could well go from here. However, I think what the one the yen is watching, the one the yen is always watching is the US dollar. So this is the pair that the Japanese are the most concerned about because it's the biggest trade partner. So when we start to get to 140, which is what they've said, we're watching 140. I think we'll probably find if they exceed that and we get up to 141, 142 and beyond, that's when we'll get that intervention. So if the US dollar starts to weaken, I think there is potential for the yen just to go sideways or maybe push back up again. If this US dollar continues to strengthen, obviously with the weakness in the yen at the moment, they will need to do an intervention, and then obviously we're going to see a big drop. So all rocking on this US dollar. Everything is pivoting on the US dollar at the moment. We need to know whether or not we have hit terminal rate or not. We need to know what's going on with this debt ceiling. There's just too much uncertainty with the US at the moment, and everything is kind of stuck and in a squeeze pattern because we're just waiting. Nobody's really interested in doing anything with this. So until that happens, we're kind of stuck, aren't we? So other RSI extensions, Aussie dollar, US dollar, 4-hour extended to the downside. 3 positions on this on the hourly RSI extension, and it's back extended on the 4. We got extended. You, depending on where you got in, you probably would have got in there. There was no exit on it, so you'll be in second entry on that one as well. Euro, New Zealand. Again, the rest of these are probably New Zealand and Australian based, but extended still. New Zealand dollar, no let up whatsoever on this. So again, euro is meant to be strong moving forward, although we've just had negative inflation for Germany, so we need to keep an eye on Lagarde as to what she says, but could come down. But we need some New Zealand dollar strength, so that one's just stuck up there at the moment. There'll be a profit take move. Everybody that's in this move at the moment is still in this move. They will be taking profit at some point. Pound odd, again related to the New Zealand dollar. Australian dollar rallying with New Zealand. Massive extension on the 4-hour. Again, up to these sorts of levels. Same sort of thing. Big push, profit take. Waiting. So nice entry. Just wait for the move. This is the one that's miles away from the moving average. Well, we're 3 ADR away from the moving average. Funnily enough, pretty much where we were there before it collapsed. So yeah, very nice extension on that one. Pound Swiss just got extended. Not massive at the moment. We're just out these highs. We need to see what happens with this. So this is the ADR reversal potentially as well. It's also hourly RSI extension and 4-hour RSI extension. It's massively extended. So this is attempting to break out of this range, or rather descending triangle, which has failed. So this is the Swiss franc being very, very weak. We got Jordan speaking, 405. Oh yes, forgot about him. So yeah, potential movement on the Swissy in an hour. So possibility that something's leaked to weaken the Swiss franc ahead of that. Or the other, for the conspiracy theorists, they're just doing a liquidity run of everybody that is short from here. Is now not short, flipping long, so they can rally it back down there. Quite possible. Happens. Pound New Zealand, 4-hour RSI extension. This thing's off the chart. I mean, this thing is the perfect storm. We've had big strength in the pound. We've had absolutely nothing from the New Zealand dollar after the interest rates. So this thing's gone absolutely parabolic. We are looking at 913 pips off of 175 ADR. 5.2 ADR from low to high in a week. Absolutely massive movement. It's just not stopping. So we really, really need some strength in the New Zealand dollar at the moment. So as you can see, drawdown controls scaling out of this, waiting for either the pound to have some bad news or to just give up the ghost for a minute while the New Zealand dollar gets something to hold on to. It will come back. It will come back at some point. It may well just flag and break. We'll see what happens. But huge push to the upside. 4-hour RSI extension and embedded. New Zealand dollar CAD. Big extension to the downside. Again, scaling out of this one. Still coming down. New Zealand dollar. Canadian dollar powering up at the moment. Yeah, so a bit of strength coming through in the Canadian dollar. And obviously New Zealand has got nothing at the minute. So again, just scaling out a bit more of this one, as you can see. So the hourly entries were back here on the extension from the interest rates. And if it stinks of a fundamental shift, this, as in we don't know something, but the market does. That, oh yeah, we've had a positive interest rate rise and it looks like we're going to need some more. I know, let's just tank it. Doesn't make any sense whatsoever. This is what happens when you don't pay attention and they don't put the interest rates up when they should be. Yes, that's when you tend to get this sort of movement. But this is just bizarre. The fact that this is dropping so hard off of a positive rise. So I don't really know why it's moving so fast and so hard, but the New Zealand's just got nothing at the minute. So it will unravel, but I get the feeling this might take a while. There's really no support if you look at it. This entire rally that we had here started out of that balance there. There's literally nothing to stop it for another sort of 2.5, 3 ADR. We'll see. Might get a bounce. Hopefully it will. We need some news, though. There isn't any. So I think we may be in this for a little bit. We'll wait and see what happens, though. So that's New Zealand dollar CAD. New Zealand yen we've covered. New Zealand US is also extended. This is a nice area that we looked at this morning. So it's this area here, which has been tested. We accumulated around it. We've used it as resistance twice. We used it as support multiple times. We're right at that level now with a big extension, and so far no pullback on it. But again, waiting to see what happens with the US. At the moment, it's massively weakening. It's US dollar strength. Okay, so they've rallied on the futures pricing in a June rate hike now at 71%. So it was looking a little bit more likely, as we knew, that we might get another 0.25%. Market is now pricing in a 70% chance of that. So jolts, where's the jolts gone? Uh, 10.1 on 9.4. So that's quite a big difference. They were expecting a drop in jobs, and we got a massive push. So more jobs available, which is good. So indices down off the back of US rally. DAX is just down at monthly support. So that's coming down even further now, as the Canadian dollar will be. So that's why the New Zealand dollar CAD's coming down, because the Canadian dollar will rally on the back of the US. So that's those two coming down, and US dollar Swiss is the other 4-hour extension, which will now be getting even more extended to the upside. It's only just hit though. So potential opportunity now on US dollar as well. New Zealand dollar Swiss. So 3 entries on New Zealand dollar Swiss at the moment. This is off the 4-hour. Again, everything New Zealand dollar. Return to origin or retest of propulsion move. Just waiting for them to do a profit take on the move, which they're not at the moment. If they don't, and they do another leg down, then you'd just be looking for another area to get out. So look at support resistance. So obviously there's your support there. You've got a level there. You've got a level there. So at the moment, I'll be looking for it to get up to there. Anywhere basically above my entry, obviously, for a profit. If it comes down to the monthly, looking for a bounce. Waiting. It's a waiting game at the minute. There you go. That's all that lot. So yeah, Jordan, we'll see what happens with this. Let's have a quick look at this Swissy. So we are starting to roll over. So it is starting to roll over. It just seems to be this account for some reason. .83 millisecond connection versus 65. Nothing. It's the same. Don't quite know why it's so slow. But yeah, Aussie dollar Swiss. So it is starting to roll over. So that big weakness we just had in the Swissy, we have just pulled back. So it might be pushing again. We'll see. CAD Swiss is all the way up there. Look at that missing data. Give up. Give up with charting. It's not working today. So yeah, we'll see what happens with this Swiss franc at 4 o'clock. So just keep your eyes peeled on the Swissy at 4. We might get some movement. We don't often get Jordan speaking. So when we do, it's worth listening to, because we're not listening to, but watching the markets, because we don't get many clues out of the Swiss as to what they're doing with interest rates, what's going on with inflation, or what they're doing behind the scenes, whereas everybody else is very much open. We have lots of talking heads everywhere. Jordan, not so much. So it is quite an important announcement, because a lot of money flows into and out of the Swiss franc, which obviously drives a lot of other stuff up and down. So US dollar Swiss has been a pain. Stop. Entry wise on it, there was an entry on the 4 hour back here, which I think probably banked some nice profit on the ADR reversals there. So get back into green for the day. 4 hour. Yeah, US dollar Swiss is flat on the 4 hour. So that 4 hour entry there was straight in, straight out. Didn't get an entry there. Just tapped into the RSI, but the reversal alert would have happened just before the RSI alerted. So didn't get an entry there, although that would have been probably enough to get out of. It's more than half an ADR on it. Yes, that was more than half an ADR. So if you took a 4 hour M5 entry there, that would have been out too, especially on that. So there's no entries on this. Hourly. Didn't get an entry there. That was the entry would have been somewhere around there. So by the time the signal came in, there was no entry. That's the only long. I haven't had any shorts on this at all. Shouldn't be in anything on this, Brian, that's in a pain, because look at the movement on it. It doesn't matter whether you've gone long or short, you've been in and out of that. There's no way you're stuck in anything on US dollar Swiss. Shouldn't be anyway. Not on the 4 hour or the hourly. Right, that's all for today. So yeah, just watching drawdown control go in at the moment. Pound New Zealand is getting to the point. So if you are in Pound New Zealand, I mean, there's only 3 positions on this at the moment, and it's in 2% of drawdown. It's CAD Swiss 125 ADR. So more Swiss franc weakness. Boom. More Swiss franc weakness. US dollar Swiss probably pushing as well, yeah. 125 on US dollar Swiss. So yeah, this Pound New Zealand, the New Zealand dollar is the biggest squeeze at the minute. Obviously off the back of this rate. So anything that you're in New Zealand, you shouldn't have too much on. If you're spacing your positions nicely, we're only in 3 on it. So if you do need to get some aggressive trades on, that move today that we've had is probably the nicest pullback, start of a pullback that we've had so far. So not stuck just waiting on US dollar Swiss. Yeah. That's our life, waiting. Waiting or squeezing. Life of a position trader. So that is potentially starting now to go. So if you look at it on the hourly, we've had the reversal alert on the hourly this morning. We haven't had a decent reversal alert on this on the hourly for a while. This is the first real structure break that we've had. At the moment, it's pulling back up nicely for a retest. So this is looking very much like the start of an M pattern. So a lower high forming here. So this is, at the moment, obviously this candle has got another 35 minutes left on it. But this is looking like it's got the makings of a rejection again at the highs. So the buyers are not able to continue to make a new leg. So this could well be exactly where we're looking to come back down and retest this area. So if you're in pound New Zealand a little too deep and you've got too much on and you want to get an aggressive drawdown control position on, this is probably where you want to be doing it. So there's your 15-minute reversal alert today. This is pullback. So if you need an aggressive on, short here, stop above the high. Give it some breathing room. Don't go there. Go up here somewhere. So in case they do an M pattern, so obviously M patterns are either double tops, lower highs, or higher highs. Yeah. So if you're going to get in an aggressive position here and you need to get your average up higher, give it room to do that. Give it room for a liquidity run on that high. So don't put your stop on that high or just above that high. Give it a quarter of an ADR or something out the top. So 44 out the top, just above ADR or something. Yeah. It's important when you're doing aggressive drawdown control. Give it room to be wrong. Don't get in too tight, obviously. Just get in and give it some room. Take whatever it, if it wants to stop you out, let it stop you out. But give it room to actually put in the pattern. Yeah. Rather than trying to get the tightest possible entry. Some people, when they're doing aggressive drawdown control, they say, I've had DMs from people trying to get in on something like this and putting a stop there. Yeah, it's too tight. You don't forget you're getting in with usually around about 50% or more of your lot size. So there's 2.19 on pound New Zealand. So entry on this is going to be one lot short to anything up from 1 to 2 lots short on it, isn't it? You don't want to stop right there. Too tight. You're going to put 1 to 2 lots on. Take a risk on it. If you lose 0.75% on an aggressive drawdown control position, it's 0.75%. If you give it room to breathe, it's more likely going to work out in your favor, get you out of a position. If you get too tight, you're just going to get cut to bits on it. So yeah, if you do need it, obviously now is probably not a bad time on that one. Looking at the other New Zealand pairs as well, apart from the US, obviously the US is rallying at the minute. But all the other New Zealand pairs, they're all, as you can see, doing a similar thing. We've had a good move today on it. Yeah. One of these moves is going to be it. Yeah. So that move there might have been it. It wasn't. That move there might have been it. Looked like it was for a day or two. It wasn't. This move might be it. Yeah. This is why everybody gets stopped out. Everybody's trying to catch the top. Yeah. One of these will be the top. You just don't know which. So, and this is why we scale in, because we've no idea when it's going to move. We know it will because it has to, but we can't time it. So you shouldn't really need an aggressive position on any of these New Zealands. We're only a week in. You shouldn't be doing aggressive drawdown control a week in. If you are, you're in far too tight. So, or you're in far too many. So if you've taken every pair with high risk, then yeah, you probably want to be getting aggressive, wouldn't you? But not too bad. When it starts to get over 3, I'd be a little bit like, this is going a bit too far. But at the moment, we are where we are. This is what we're looking at this morning on pound New Zealand, wasn't it? This level. Yeah. So we tapped straight into that this morning. Rejected. perfectly. So pushed up, tested it, tested it, tested it, broke it, tested it, tested it, tested it. This is the second visit, if you like. So first visit, second visit was those two. This is the second real retest. So we're going to put in a new leg down. That's it. However, should be bullish. We'll see. Right, that's all I've got for you today. Anything else you need, let me know in Telegram. I'm going to do some more testing on the pre-market 5. I'm coming to the conclusion that the way that I was trying to trade this is too much for poor old MT4 to handle. It's also quite tricky on the slippage side of things. So I think the initial pre-market 5 that I was testing was literally a 1-in, hit target, try the other way. If that doesn't work, stop trading strategy. And it was profitable. What I tried to do was get super clever. And I think I've been trying to get too over clever with it. And it's just struggling basically to execute the orders properly and in time. There's too much liquidity coming through the market at the time to do what I'm wanting to do. So using an inside bar re-entry, I think is probably the logical thing to do. So looking at the Dow, for example, if we hadn't have made a profit today on the Dow, that was your 5-minute. That would have been your second entry. In this case, it would have failed. That would have been another entry, which would have worked beautifully. So taking inside bar breaks, which is basically the market rallying, pausing, rallying, pausing. Yeah, it doesn't matter which way it rallies, does it? So the market's either going to continue or it's going to reverse. Either way, it usually has an inside bar before it does it. There's a good example there, look. Yeah, that candle, inside bar, break. So the new version, obviously we didn't see it do it this afternoon because it made profit. But the new version, that's what it uses as its backup to get out of any opening range breaks that fail. So I'm going to do some more testing on it. The DAX testing I've done has worked very, very well. So I think that might be another alternative. Doesn't really matter how you do it, does it? At the end of the day, the initial opening range pre-market break is what we're looking to benefit from. I'm just looking for a way to dig ourselves out of any whippy sessions. So I will do some more testing on it. But back tomorrow morning, 7:50, same time for Frankfurt. We'll do the ORB on DAX, and we'll obviously have a look at how everything's gone this afternoon. Watch for Jordan at 4 o'clock. We've got no news tomorrow morning apart from CPI on the euro, which is the flash estimate tomorrow morning. That's at 10 o'clock, 2 hours after market open. So I suspect we'll probably get a normal market movement tomorrow. I don't think we're going to wait around for that. But we've got that tomorrow, and we've obviously got PMIs along with unemployment claims as well, and then the unemployment rate on Friday. So there's no overnight news to worry about. We've got Harker talking later as well, but Jordan's the main thing this afternoon. Other than that, it's the end of the month. So we will either see a big sell-off in the next couple of hours in one direction or the other, or we're just going to chop around and hold because we've done the moves that we want to do. And then hopefully beginning in month, which is tomorrow, they will start unraveling all these moves that they've put in so far. So we'll see. All right. So have a good afternoon stroke evening. I'll be back tomorrow 7:50 and 2:20 same time, and I'll be in Telegram till then. So have a good one. I'll see you then.